Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. My name is Kristen, and today's video setup is going to be a little bit different than what you might be used to because I am posting this video on two different, couldn't see that back here, two different YouTube channels. Not only do I have my main channel called Cristin Sierra, but I also have a side channel called Cristin Eats. I started over a year ago and I haven't really posted much on there in a hot minute. I love doing mukbangs, they're just expensive. But this video is going on both channels, so I'm kind of talking to two audiences today. So hello to everybody from Cristin Eats. I've not forgotten about you. I can't do mukbangs on a regular basis like I would like to. I tried doing some that were just like food I cooked here at home, but nobody really wanted to watch those. But I get it. When I watch mukbangs, I like watching things from restaurants, so I can kind of relate to the food a little bit more than just, oh, you made this in your kitchen. However, Sauce Queen, I love watching her whenever she does her like seafood boils. Those are always pretty good. And she has just like the best stories ever. So today I am eating Panda Express. This is new in my town. We're so excited. I know Panda Express has been around forever, but we just got one a couple months ago. And I ordered their plate meal. So I have an order of beef and broccoli, an order of orange chicken, I think is what it was called, brown rice. I've got some sweet and sour sauce, a Coke, and then I ordered a set of 2 spring rolls along with a set of their cream cheese ragoon, but I don't think I got that unless it's in here. Maybe we'll get lucky. Okay, my ragoon's in here, but not my egg rolls, so I don't really know which one I'm sad about the most because I wanted both. So today I thought we could do a little story time, just talking about people at work, customers. Oh my goodness. I did another one of these videos a little while ago. It was a mukbang. I put it on my main channel. I don't know why I didn't put it on Cristin Eats, but I didn't. But if you guys want to see part 1 to this video, the link will be down below. You can go check it out. There's really no specific order that you have to watch this. It's just if you want more of this kind of content, there's a part 1 to this video. But again, it don't really matter either way. I'm gonna get a bite here. I'm so hungry. Also, Cristin Eats people, if you haven't also been on my main channel, I've had a baby since you guys have last seen me. I now have 2 children. I've got a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old. And we'll see how long I can go before I get called away for parenting duties. Right now they're both eating lunch. My 6-month-old is holding his own bottle for now. He sometimes struggles, so we'll see if he needs assistance. But first bite, sweet and sour sauce. I love these things. They're so good. This is my 2nd time having Panda Express since we've gotten one. Well, in my entire life, this is my 3rd time having Panda Express. I've had it one other time like 10 years ago. But it's my 2nd time since we've gotten the Panda Express that I've had it. So good. And apparently this is like a medium. I ordered a medium Coke. Seems huge. Beef and broccoli. It's good. Have you guys tried Panda Express before? I'm sure a lot of you have. It's not a new thing. It was new around here. So I was thinking about doing a mukbang talking about a whole fiasco we recently had with a dog we bought from the Humane Society, or adopted rather. People from my main channel will know what I'm talking about. People from Cristin Eats probably won't have a clue. But I've got vlogs for my main channel talking about it. I can link those below in case you're curious. But would you guys be interested in a inclusive video just talking about the whole story time in a mukbang form? Or would you guys rather just see it like me sit down and do a story time? Let me know in the comments below. I wasn't really sure how to do that story. I know a lot of you guys are just wanting to have like a conclusive start to finish instead of broken up vlogs of what happened. But I wasn't sure if I should do it in a story time or in a mukbang. I also wasn't sure if people from Cristin Eats would even care. So, if you guys want to see it in a mukbang, let me know. And we can plan for that maybe next week. Okay, so I hand out food samples. That is my job where I work. I'm a sample lady. And people get freaking crazy over their food samples. And I have been writing down little incidences that happen with customers. And that's kind of how part one of this is. It's just little incidences of things that have happened. So again, you don't gotta watch them in any sort of order, but I don't know if you guys could hear that, but a motorcycle just went by. I thought it was thunder. It's getting really dark outside. And it's only like 2 o'clock. So I'm not sure if it's going to rain or if it's going to snow. Okay, so first incident that like happened was not the first one, but you guys get what I'm saying. What we're going to start off with here. So this is more co-worker related. But the way things work is that everybody pulls off the floor at about 5 o'clock. You leave at 5:15 if you're on first shift. Well, everybody pulled off a smidge early because everybody was just running out of food. And so I stopped down to the new guy and I'm like, hey, everybody's already pulling off. It's only like a 5-minute difference and there's plenty of work in the kitchen that needs to be done as far as like dishes and putting things away and cleaning carts and like mopping floors, and there's plenty to do. So it's not like we're skimping out on work. It's just pulling off the floor a little bit early, by like 5 minutes. And I'm like, you know, dishes are already getting done. Everybody already has all their stuff back there. And a lot of times how that works is if somebody comes off super late and the dish is already done, then you have to redraw all of the dishwater and you have to go through the whole process all over again. Excuse me. Also, we have security cameras that are flashing around back there, so I hope it doesn't bother anybody. So I go down and tell the new guy, he's relatively new, within a couple of weeks, and I'm like, hey, everybody's already pulled off. It's totally fine if you want to pull off too, because everybody's already getting their dishes done. So you can go ahead and pull off. And he goes, well, my stuff's not done yet. And I can't even recreate the kind of nasty attitude he had with me. Like, he wasn't cursing me out or anything like that, but it's just like his tone of voice, his body language, like he was just being nasty with me. And like, I know I'm not a boss, I know I'm not a manager, but like, I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this job for a very long time. And so he's like, well, my stuff's not done yet. And I'm like, okay, but like everybody's already doing dishes, they're already gonna be done back there. And he's like, I'm finishing my stuff. I'm like, okay. And I go on back and I take care of my things. Well, we have this older lady who works with us. Her name is Carol Ann. She is like one of the sweetest people ever. I love her. She's like a great person to work with. Hard worker. Oh my gosh, she could like work circles around me. Excuse me, you guys hear me burping? Good lord. All those like throat burps. You guys get those? They like never really come out. They're just like stuck in your throat. Carol Ann is always doing the dishes, like always. And for anyone who doesn't know, I worked at this job for like 4 years. I quit for like 3 years, and then I came back a little over a year ago. Whole new team of people. And when I first worked this job, I always got stuck doing dishes. Well, now like Carol Ann has just kind of taken it on as like her thing, and she just like always does the dishes. Like even if you're doing dishes, she'll like kind of scoot you out to like drying and putting things away. She just always takes over dishes. But it's so easy for people to just kind of like take advantage of her and just expect her to do their dishes, which she will, but like you shouldn't expect it out of somebody because really you should be doing your own dishes. It's just nice of her to do all the dishes for everybody on that shift. So, new guy comes back to the kitchen and he puts his dirty pan over by Carol Ann because he didn't have anything easy to clean, of course. He had like dirty pans and stuff. sometimes people have just like a fork or like just a serving tray, and like those are pretty easy. They're not like dirty. You know, it's more like just quick little rinse off and dunk them in the sanitizing. There's no scrubbing involved. Well, he brings back his dirty pan, sticks it by Carol Ann for her to do, and then his lid to his dirty pan got set behind her on like the little island we have in the kitchen. And then he's just like piddle fucking around the kitchen. I don't know how else to put it. He's not really doing anything. And me and the other guy that are back there are like drying and putting things away while Carol Ann is finishing up the wash. Well, Carol Ann finishes up everything, and our boss, who's sitting there doing computer stuff that she needs to get accomplished, asks the new guy, she's like, did you open another roast? Because I guess he wasn't supposed to do that, but he did. So it hadn't been cooked yet. And she's like telling him, like, okay, well, you need to put it like in a container or whatever and put it in the fridge. We'll serve it tomorrow because we're doing the same thing again tomorrow. Some big old hunks of green onion that can go away. So he's messing around, finally doing something, and it's just putting away his own roast. And Carol Ann does last call for dishes. Keep in mind, he's done nothing to help anybody else, just done his own thing. I'm not even sure at this point that he's even cleaned his own cart off. And apparently this isn't a common thing for him to just piddle around and not do anything to help, because I mentioned to another coworker who works more days than I do, I can only work like the weekends because I've got kids, I made a comment about the interaction I'd had with him on the floor, and I was like, well, he's going to get back and like everybody's have to do his dishes, or like his dishes won't have been done yet. What was it I said? I'm trying to figure out what I said. Something like, he's going to need to do his dishes. And my coworker who I was talking to made the comment and said, yeah, but he won't. He never does. So that tells me right there that he doesn't really pitch in or help at the end of the day clean up. He just expects everybody to do it for him. So Carol Ann does last call for dishes, and he makes a comment to her about washing his pan, and she says, well, you better bring it in here, and he goes, it's right there, you've already washed it, but my lid is behind you, and you better get on that, is what he said to her. And it just, oh, it made me so mad. Just the venom in his voice, and just the nastiness. Oh, I was just, I get people can be rude. I understand that customers can be trying. I get that that can stick with you all day long, but there's no reason, if you had a bad day on the floor, to take it out on your coworkers who have been dealing with the exact same people all day long. And I'm not really so sure that he necessarily had a bad day, as it is that I don't think he likes taking instructions from a woman. I don't think he likes a woman telling him what to do, because he got nasty with me on the floor telling him to get off the floor, and then he got nasty with Carol Ann telling him to get his dishes back for her to finish up, and which they were already there except for the lid, but for him to just get nasty with her about the lid, maybe, well, you better finish that up or something like that. And then my assistant manager said that she had a run with him 2 weeks ago, and she was going on and on about how she didn't like the new guy. She'd been talking about it for a while. I talked to him a couple of times. He seemed nice enough. I hadn't had any issues with him, but I also hadn't told him to do anything. And I guess he'd been nasty with my assistant manager, got nasty with me, got nasty with Carol Ann. Sorry, I guess she's the only person I've used a name on. Probably shouldn't be giving out names, but got kind of nasty with her, which I'm not really sure that she realized that he was being nasty, or maybe she did and just let it go. Again, she's like a super sweet lady, but And our boss is a woman. I'm not sure how he is with her. She seems to like him. She says that he works really well. Which maybe he does, but he's still just like super rude and nasty. Like, at least to people telling him what to do. That's apparently not the big boss, you know? And I really just hope he's not there very long. So another incident that happened, and it wasn't with me, it was another coworker had this happen over the weekend. She was handing out servings of lamb. It was leg of lamb. Well, and I don't fully agree with exactly how she handled the situation, personally. But we do get people in there that have a very self-entitled attitude and very, like, just expecting of you to just do things for them. And it's like, I'm just here to hand you a sample. Whether you take it or not, or what you do with it once you take it off my tray is, like, none of my business, and I don't care, and I'm not getting any further involved. So she's doing leg of lamb, and just little bite-sized pieces. And this man, who is presumably Muslim, we're assuming here, and of course I'm not trying to say anything negative or bad about anyone who's Muslim. And this is just all coming story from my coworker. Okay, I didn't see the man, didn't talk to him, well, I might have, but, like, I don't know for sure if it was him or somebody else. So, like, I didn't see the exact customer she's talking about. So she says that he comes around, he takes a sample of the lamb, puts it on his tray, and then he asks what it is. She tells him it's lamb. He, for whatever reason, assumes it's beef. I guess there's a bit of a language barrier. Now, we only assume that he's Muslim because a lot of times Muslims won't eat beef or pork. I'm a little confused on all that because we've got some folks that come in who won't eat beef and some folks that come in and won't eat pork. So maybe he's not even Muslim at all. I don't know. Again, this is just what my coworker told me. And she's assuming he's Muslim. So, and I, again, wasn't there for the interaction. And he's assuming it's beef. And she's telling him it's lamb. But he's insisting that it's beef. And he's insisting that she takes the sample off of his tray. Off of his plate. I guess he had a plate from some other demo. And he took the leg of lamb sample and put it on his plate. And he's insisting that he's insisting that it's beef. And insisting that she should take it off the plate for him. And she's telling him, no, I'm not doing that. If you don't want it, you can throw it away, but I'm not taking it off your plate for you. Like, you're a grown-up. You can take it off yourself, for one. And for two, if you thought it was beef, why did you take it? Like, we have so many people that will take samples, assuming it's one thing, and they get upset when it's not what they thought it was. And it's like, I have signs up, the packaging's in front of me, like, it's not my fault if you're not paying any attention. On top of that, like, I'm telling you what it is as you walk up to my cart, but if you're too busy not listening, I can't help you. So, I guess things start getting a little bit heated because she's refusing to take the sample off his plate and he's insisting it's beef, even though she's telling him it's lamb. And she finally says, it's lamb! Bah! I'm like, oh my gosh. It gets so frustrating with people in there. And then I guess he went and reported her and there was like a whole issue. And, like, again, I don't fully agree with how she handled it. But, like, the customer has to take some form of responsibility because if you thought it was beef and you don't eat beef, why did you take it off the tray and put it on your plate? And then, like, why make a big deal out of it? Just throw it away yourself, okay? Like, there's nobody else's responsibility to do that for you. You picked it up and maybe you shouldn't have. Okay, I'm going to get my phone out because I've got notes of things that have been happening to me personally. Before we get much further, can we just talk about toddlers for like 1 second? Total sidetrack, but like my kid did, it was mortifying when it happened, but now like looking back it was funny. And then we can all just have a laugh at it. So, the company that we have our water heater through, our furnace, and our air conditioner, it was all bought through the same company. And so we pay $11 a month for a service fee where they come out 3 times a year for free and they inspect all of our appliances, the furnace, AC, and the water heater to make sure they're working properly. And there's certain things that they do. Like I think they flushed the water heater today is what happened today. A few weeks ago we had them come out because our furnace went out and they serviced our furnace. There's one part that was wrong that needed cleaned that we have to pay for, and there's another part we had to get replaced. But anyway, you guys get what I'm saying. So I had the guy out here today to service the water heater. And at the end of it all, after I'm signing all the paperwork, My son runs up from the living room and hugs this man, strange man. Hugs him from behind, wraps his arm completely around him, and buries his face in this guy's butt. And I'm like, oh my God, child, why are you hugging? Why are you giving this strange man a butt hug? I mean, I guess at least it wasn't a crotch hug, but like, for me, I was mortified. And the guy was kind of like just laughing it off and being really nice, but it's kind of like weird and awkward, and I could tell like he didn't want to grab my child and pull him off because like that's touching somebody else's kid. But like also I was having a hard time getting a hold of him because there's no way I could get my child off of this man without touching this man. It was just the whole thing was just awkward and like, just let go. Just let go. And like the guy would try to pull away and my toddler would hold on tighter, and I'm like, oh, stop hugging him. This is so awkward. But it's really one of those things, like, in the moment, I was mortified. Looking back on it, I'm like, it was kind of funny. Thankfully, the guy was nice about it. He wasn't, like, angry with my kid or me, or, like, he just kind of stood there and let me wrangle my child. Okay, so getting into crazy things that have happened at work. So here's another one that kind of goes along with the language barrier issue and people who don't eat certain meats. I wrote this down back in September and I don't even remember it happening, but I think you guys can kind of get the gist of it. But there was a guy, I guess I was handing out samples of sausage, and a guy asked if it was chicken, and I tell him it's pork, and he asks again if it's chicken, and I say it's pork, and he's like, chicken? And I'm like, still pork. And apparently he spoke really good English, so there wasn't like a language barrier issue with that guy. It's just he didn't eat pork apparently, and was pretty, or he didn't eat chicken. What was it? Didn't eat pork, and I had pork, and he was pretty insistent it was chicken. I've got a baby crying. Okay, so this one's just like a little bit goofy, but we have these red serving trays that we put our food samples out on. And over the weekend I had a guy come up to get a sample. He tells me thank you, he reaches for the sample, and before he grabs the sample, he reaches behind the sample and scratches my tray. Does one of these numbers on my tray where there was nothing, and then he grabs the sample and walks off. And I'm like, so what happened? It was just kind of weird. Like, the only thing I can think is like maybe he's got something to do with sensory things. I don't know. I went on a date one time with a guy who had some kind of weird sensory thing where like he liked to touch things. If it was textured, he had to touch it. And I remember we were like walking through the mall and he like stopped to touch a wall and a few other things, and he was really nice. I definitely would have dated him if we didn't live 3 hours apart, but yeah, it was kind of like he kept stopping to touch things. And the only thing I can think is maybe this guy had like the same kind of an issue. So, same weekend, I was handing out samples of pie for Thanksgiving. Different kinds of pie. At the time, I was doing apple pie. Just apple pie. I have a lady come up to me who, there's a bit of a language barrier, and she asks what I'm doing. I say, I'm doing apple pie. And she goes, all of them? I say, yeah, they're all apple pie. And she goes, what about this one? And points to one little tiny corner cup. And I'm like, yeah, it's apple pie. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, it's all apple pie from the same pie. And she goes, well, which one has less sugar? Like, it's all the same pie. Like, it all came out of the same pie. I can't tell you this one has less. I should have told her, that one's got less sugar in it. But it's probably one of the dumbest interactions I've had with a person in a very long time. Like, Why would one piece of the exact same pie have less sugar than any other piece of the pie? So, sometimes we get like creepy old men that come in. And this one happened 2 weeks ago. Me and a coworker are at the very front of the store, and we are doing a toy demonstration. We've got a few toys that are like the hot ticket items that kids can come up and play with and test out, and we're also handing out balloons to children. Supposed to be to children. And I had a man come in, an older gentleman who's probably in his 60s, maybe his 70s. And he's with his wife. My coworker and I are just kind of standing next to each other. We didn't really try to interact or pursue these people because they're grown-ups, right? Well, the man walks up to me and my coworker and he says, what do I gotta do to get a balloon? And he reaches out and tries to hug both of us at the same time. And he says something like, give you guys a hug. And it was just kind of like creepy and weird. And it's like, I did nothing to ask for your affections or you to touch me. I don't know you. This is weird and awkward. And I'm here sitting here with a balloon. I'm like, you can just have it. Don't touch me. I didn't say that, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't know you. Why are you touching me? And like his wife is standing there laughing. And I was like, your husband's over here being a creeper and you just think it's funny? Like, is that how he won you over? Did he just give you a creepy hug at work and you decided he was the one? It's not nice to randomly touch people who don't want to be touched. I think you lost the bottle again. Okay, so to go along with like the creepy old man thing, I had a man a couple months ago that, I don't forget what he was telling me. Didn't really care. But he was whispering in my ear. He was so close I could feel my hair brush against his face. And my ear is short, okay? Does that tell you how close he was to me that my hair was brushing against his face? Ugh. Just creepy. And I had another one. Men just being in your personal space happens a lot at work. They just want to get real close to you. And it's like, I'm just here to hand out food samples, okay? Like, I'm not looking for some snuggling here. You need to back up. Something else that really annoys me is the amount of men that tell me I need to smile. Like, why do you care if I'm smiling or not? Any other women out there get that? Like, it's very rare. In fact, I can't think of a time when I've ever had another woman tell me I need to smile. But I have men tell me I need to smile almost every weekend when I'm at my job. And it's like, why do you care if I'm smiling? Why does that affect your day? Like, it's just creepy and weird. Stop asking women to smile for you. Like, I'm at work. How much excitement do I need to have here? You know, like, I get paid to stand here and hand out food samples. I don't get paid here to stand here and smile. Like, so, a demo or a sampling event that's been happening a lot here is called Chef Chamois. And they're like these fancy flavored butters. So good. I'm so full. Oh my goodness. I need to get some water. This chicken's a little spicy. So I have these flavored butters. You stand at a table and you do up grilled cheese, and you alternate between doing garlic butter grilled cheese and cream cheese and chive, I think it is, or sour cream and chive, or I don't know. There's 2 different kinds like that you do grilled cheese with. And then you have little spoons set out that have samples of like the strawberry butter and the cinnamon sugar butter. I'm going to get some water. So my coworker was doing this demonstration, and she had a random man come up to her, and all she had out was grilled cheese samples. And he looks at her and says, "Which one's the grilled cheese?" It's like, they're all grilled cheese. What do they look like to you? So that was kind of weird. And then there's another time my friend was doing this demonstration, and I came up to talk to her about something. I don't remember what it was. And there was a man standing there, and he went through the cooler with all these special butters and fondled all of them. Like, there's 4 different flavors of butter, and he picked up at least 1 tub of each butter flavor, and picked it up and looked at it and put it, like, wasn't really reading anything. At least it didn't look like it. He'd have to be, like, reading really fast, but, and he picked up several of, like, the same butter a couple different times. I was just going through, picking up butters, looking at them, putting them back down, just, like, over and over and over again. And he never actually bought the butter. He just fondled all of them. Like, what are you doing with your life, dude? Like, I could see if he was wanting to read the ingredients or something, if he was going through all of them to read all of the ingredients, I could get that. But he was picking them up and putting them down so quick, it's like, how are you even reading this? And he picked up way more than 4. So I know he was picking up multiples of some of the same flavors. And it's like, what are you doing? So I've got like 2 more little stories and I'll finish things up here. So, one time I was doing samples of pizza. I already had a few samples out. I was working from the crust side and working in. And I had a man just like standing there watching me. And I say, "Oh, I've got a few out if you want to take one of those." So often we have somebody who will sit there and like wait for you to just like give them a special sample, and it's like, it's all the same. Just because I give you one here doesn't make that one any fresher when it came off the same slice of pizza. So a lot of times I'll tell them, if they're some already on the tray, you don't gotta wait around for me to get it out, you know? Excuse me. And he says, and the one I had was a crust piece. He says, "I can't have that much bread," and waits for me to put down a middle slice, and takes that. And my thoughts are, there is no more or less bread in the middle of this pizza. I think it was a thin crust. The same amount of bread you're getting here from the middle piece is the same amount you're going to get there from the edge piece. The only difference is that you got a bit of the visible crust instead of it all being covered in sauce and cheese. Like, that made literally no sense. And the last and final one I have to tell you guys was about a lady who I got into it with. Kinda. As nicely as I could. Told her to back the fuck up. No. I wanted to. So I don't even remember what I was handing out samples of. But I had them in an oven and they were cooking. And the way I had it set up was like, I was like with my cart, and then like me behind the cart, and the oven was like right next to me against the wall, and then you had open space on the other side of me. So kind of like imagine this is my demonstration cart, and then like I have my oven like right here, like literally right there. And then she comes up from this side, and like all up next to me, like leaning on my cart. She wants to come over and look inside my oven, and then she comes back to leaning on my cart, and she's just wanting samples and just like wanting to wait for them to be finished. And she like had other samples, and she's like sitting them on my cart and like leaning on my, like leaning, like she wasn't just like a little bit. She was like nearly in the middle of my cart, like all up next to me. And I finally tell her, "Ma'am, I can't have you putting your samples on my cart." Because so often we have people that try to act like our carts are like tables that they can just eat off of. And that's not how this works. You need to take your sample and walk away. I can't, unless you have questions. Like, you can't just eat off of my cart. That's gross. There's germs. Like, we try to keep things very clean, and you can't be leaning on top of my cart trying to eat off of it and, like, hang out next to me, okay? You need to take your sample and go away. I told you it's going to be like 20 minutes before my stuff's even done. And I tell her, I'm like, I can't, and I'm getting so flustered. Things are not coming out very well. And I tell her, you know, she needs to back off. She can't be that close to me. And she wants to come back at me and be like, I'm not in your personal space. And I'm like, you were looking in my oven, which is, again, like right next to me, like pulling, like wanting to pull down the oven, like open it and get all in there. And like, you're leaning on your cart, you're like super close to me. I'm telling her, like, you need to back off. I need personal space. You need to back off. And she's coming back at me. I wasn't in your personal space. And, you know, that's just part of the job. You should just get used to it. And it's like, it's not part of the job. Nowhere in my training did it say I need to cuddle with customers. No, it says you're not supposed to have people hanging out on top of your tray. Like, I'm still entitled to my own personal space. And in fact, you shouldn't come over to this side of the cart to get a sample, which people do often. You should come around to the front of the cart to get your sample. You shouldn't even take it off from the side. Okay, you need to come to the front. You don't need to be all up in my personal space. And people do it all the time. But she was just taking it to the next level by, like, trying to hang out with me, be all up next to me, be leaning on my cart, be eating off my cart. And it's like, you can't do that. And so she goes off to my coworker, who was like a little ways across from me, telling about how rude I was, which, I mean, I understand her side of it. However, I don't think she's quite grasping the fact that, like, I'm entitled to personal space, okay? Like, I don't need you on top of me. And I was not cursing at her or anything like that. I was just telling her to, like, back off and give me some personal space. And that's the first time I've ever done that with a customer. There's been plenty of times I wanted to do it before, but she is just took it to an extreme. And so I kind of snapped and was like, I need personal space. You gotta back off. Like, I don't need y'all on top of me. Goes over to my coworker. Is complaining to my coworker about it, and my coworker's like, well, you really can't be on top of our carts because of germs. I'm trying to explain everything to her in a more calm down fashion than what I was, because I got flustered. I don't handle confrontation well, and when I have to confront somebody about something, I tend to, like, be a little more snappy than I ought to be. And so my coworker's trying to, like, explain to her, and she's going off saying, she's so rude, she shouldn't talk to me like that, I was not in her personal space, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to speak to a manager. And I look over and I say, good, I hope you do. My manager's down there handing out the grilled cheese. Which at the time she was. Because how that works is that on Sundays, a lot of times my actual manager is not there. It's my assistant manager that is there. And her job is to get everybody on the floor, and then she has her own demonstration. That day she was doing grilled cheese. And so I told her, go talk to my manager. She's right down there. I will point her out to you. Knock yourself out. She never went and talked to anybody. At least not to my knowledge. Nobody from higher up in the store ever came and talked to my manager. She never talked to my manager. I think when I told her, manager's down there, knock yourself out, I think she realized that she wasn't going to get anywhere with that. Because she wasn't. Like, I've never had a complaint on me in the store that I'm aware of. Like, nobody's going to do anything. A little overconfident there maybe, but, like, they would even be able to look at the video surveillance footage and see what she was doing and know that, like, yeah, you're not wrong, because she was all in your space. So, my fortune says, you will place your trust in others and be rewarded. Lucky numbers, there are none. Okay, no lucky numbers. So that is everything for today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Again, any videos that I've mentioned, I'll have them linked below if you want to go and check them out. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up so other people can find it, and subscribe if you've not already. If you're here from Cristin Eats, Cristin Sierra will be linked below. And if you're from Cristin Sierra, Cristin Eats will also be linked below. Again, I'm sorry for neglecting Cristin Eats so much, but it's expensive to do mukbangs. This is like $14, okay? I can't afford to do this 2 to 3 times a week, let alone once a week. I got little kids. It's expensive. And anybody out there who wants to say something about, you know, it's all about money, well, it is. And if it's not all about money for you, then you probably have more money in the bank than I do. So, my apologies. But I hope you did enjoy, and I hope to catch you in my next one.